Patricia and I are going to cut rushes to make St. Brigid's crosses. Today is 17th of January 2001. St. Brigid's Day is the first. 2021 even. St. Brigid's Day is the 1st of February. It's officially the start of spring in Ireland, and traditionally the people long ago and today still make St. Brigid's crosses out of rushes. Now rushes grow in what is known as poor land, of which there's plenty in Ireland, and it wouldn't seem to have an awful lot of purposes, but long ago it actually had a fantastic purpose in that the local people used it as roofs for their houses. The cottages and houses of Ireland were roofed with rushes, beautiful thatched cottages, warm, insulating, cosy and aesthetic to look at. So rushes had a fantastic value in years gone by, and they still have to an extent. Farmers would use them as bedding and that type of thing. So we are going to cut some rushes. It's an interesting story about the St. Brigid's cross. St. Brigid was obviously a very holy lady in old Celtic Ireland, and in the times, I suppose not really pagan times, but the times of the Druids and that. But apparently there was a local chieftain who was on his deathbed, or local wealthy man, and he called for Brigid to visit him, and she visited him and she wanted to pray over him, and there was no sign of a cross in the house. So the floor was covered with, as people did then, covered the floor like a carpet of rushes, and she lifted up a heap of these and started to weave a cross, and apparently that's the origin of St. Brigid's cross. When RTE came in Ireland, their symbol for many, many years was St. Brigid's cross. I think it might be in some places, but yeah, so it's got a long history. Well, obviously these ones are dead when they've gone all yellow or brown, so we're picking them out. But to pick out the likes of that, it's lovely and long, green, fat, squeezy. Inside it is a sort of like a felt, almost like a felt type material, but easy to bend, flexible and without breaking, and ideal for making the cross. So there's any amount of these, but obviously you have to separate the weeds from the good ones. Of course that's recommended nowadays for environmentalists, to keep part of your garden wild because of the wildlife, the wee animals, the wee four-legged things, the flies, the butterflies, all that sort of thing. The last Holy Communion in the parish, or the last confirmation, because of COVID they couldn't have a celebration, so they planted trees for a tree for each child and made confirmation. Patch over there, they're kept in a good part, and there's one there. You alright? A tree for every wee child that made confirmation. Father Moore, who's just left, former parish priest, was very into gardening. Well, I took last year with scissors. So again, a nice, lovely green, dark green, flawless. Have a good batch. I'm pleased with that. I was over here. They nearly exist all year round, but at this time of the year they're lovely and young and sappy and fresh and all those things. But in actual fact, if you came over here in the summertime, there's still plenty of rushes. I think they just keep growing, and they'll grow where it's damp, because this is obviously the bank of the river here. They'll go where it's damp and marshy and generally poor soil. But having said that, farmers have made good fields out of where there was rushes, just by digging them out and fertilising and putting them with the topsoil or whatever, and so they don't mean that you can't farm. And even still, and actually in very fancy houses you'll get thatched cottages. Some people are building lovely modern cottages and putting thatched roofs on them, so they haven't gone away. Even right at the British Legion, a farmer puts in his sheep, and the grass around the British Legion Hall of Fame is chipped down to a millimetre, and all over the place there's lovely wee bunches of rushes left untouched. Louisa's known. She did best. That's our rushes. This was originally the way of the cross that Father Moore, I suppose, commissioned, and local parishioners did it, and that's the 12th station. Jesus dies upon the cross There's 14 stations, so 13th and 14th are on round. It was beautiful for years, but various floods and bad weather just ruined it and left it in tatters like this. Little wee seating area. Lovely even just for people of all denominations and no denomination to come and sit and walk, and it's tranquil and quiet and peaceful and a lovely little walk. Across the river is the golf course, rough land and then the golf course, and back in the day it would have been all part of the Ecclesville estate, owned by the Leckie family, the Brown Leckies, who donated grounds to the church and obviously then to the Church of Ireland, different things in various parts, and the British Legion and things like that. So it's a lovely facility to have in Fintan, and I'm told that there's even people from other countries coming here and buying houses because of this lovely facility. And We're back at home now at my kitchen table, and we have a selection of our freshly cut rushes. And the first thing we're going to do is clean them one at a time. So pick up a nice rush, just give it a little wipe one way or the other. There's a couple here done already. And as somebody pointed out to me, it's unbelievable the amount of dirt that comes off. And again, try to get them all of a similar, a regular, standard thickness. It's probably better than mixing thick and thin ones, but it doesn't really matter, but try to get them as near the same size as possible. Just a little quick wipe up on broken. So just get your brush and bend it in the middle, nice wee bend. Just about midway on your first brush, start with your straight, about midway, just bend over, and it's because they're soft and young, it's flexible. Squeeze it in a wee bit to flatten it. Then the second one, overlap where you have bent the first one, squeeze it in. And again, about halfway up the rush, bend over. Just turning round, the mat is 90 degrees, bend over, and keep your fingers firmly pressed in the centre piece at all times, because that's what's holding it together, and it's also going to be the little design. You see at the end, again, bend over, start to see a little square forming in the middle, bend over, round, keep it pressed, flattish, try to flatten it out in the middle, bend over, and you're getting the little square in the middle starting to form. And all the time you're holding the new one that you're putting on is holding the previous one in place, and that just goes round and round and round to rebuild solid centre, and then the legs with the cross coming off the four legs. And if there is a little bend or that, just try to keep it as straight as you can, because otherwise you have to dismantle your whole cross, so it'll be all right in the end if you just keep it in place. And then you see the little square forming in the middle, little woven square of rushes. And I have to keep my fingers over it because that's what keeps it in place. Here we have a fallen one, but we'll try to remedy that. And keep the little building up your centre. You know, if you're all the time using your hands and using your two hands and keeping the centrepiece solid, it's not that great. But anyway, at this time of the year they're good, and they're good compared to the ones we saw at the Masonic Lodge, which were all withered and grey. These are lovely and fresh and new and green, and we're lucky. Sometimes even other times when you get rushes, the ends of them might be grey, you only get the green in the middle, so we're lucky to have this much. They are bending on me a wee bit, maybe too long is right. However, it'll all come right in the end. I'm confident of that. So there's our little cross, our little square, nice little woven square starting to take shape. And keep going going round, round and round. And when you think maybe this would be a small cross, but I could make, I'll just go around and do one more complete circle and then that'll do us, will it? One more complete circle. And again, I'm going for the fattest ones I can get. But that's why it's good to have nearly all one thickness, but of course it's nature we're dealing with, so things aren't just going to be all the same. So I think I'll leave it at that. I think if we so what I do is usually the length of my 4 fingers, I just get the scissors and cut a bit, a few centimetres below that, and pick a little elastic band, and just wrap around this here. That's one leg. Go to the next one and tighten it up. Again, 4 fingers, right, but if your 4 fingers, a few centimetres underneath, clip it off, and another little elastic band, and leg number 2, number 3, 4 fingers, but if your 4 fingers, a few centimetres underneath, your elastic band. Last one, and 4 fingers down, a few centimetres underneath, and get our elastic band. Much handier than doing it with long ago people just used string, but this is much handier. And we've got a nice little St. Brigid's cross. The Feast of St. Brigid, and that's our little cross, one of the iconic emblems of Ireland. And a happy St. Brigid's Day to one and all. Officially the beginning of spring, 1st of February.